Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, man. I started this podcast because people need information on how to get to the money as an entrepreneur. I think it's important that, and we were just talking before we started recording, that's 2 levels, right? Well, I think it's 3 that I was teaching the other day. You got to earn income, save income, and then invest it, which saving is really important because you could be an entrepreneur and make $1 million.
And blow it.
Have nothing at the end of the year.
That's
and you're
crazy
just looking
work.
like a clown. Just red nose and all. You just imagine making that type of money, you have nothing to show for it, right? And then investing. So I think financial literacy comes into place when you start talking about investing and you start talking about saving, because I don't really have enough time to give you the strategies on how to stop blowing your money. However, that first part is why I'm really passionate about this podcast. Can we make some money? Can we make more than you make on your job? Or can you supplement your job's income and one day make more than your job and be a full-time entrepreneur? So that's the lane that I focus on. So when we were talking on the phone, Deanna obviously introduced us, and I was like, dang, this is a really, really dope concept because I know something about it. So go on and introduce yourself, then we're going to get into it.
My name is Nicholas Ward, and from the South Side of Chicago. And basically, I get wealthy off the weather.
Have you ever been in a gang?
Have I ever been in a gang? Nah.
Okay. A lot of gangs in Chicago.
Yeah, no, I didn't partake.
Cool. And you get wealthy off the weather.
That I do.
Dang. Talk about it, man. Tell me about it.
So I'm a natural disasters adjuster, field adjuster. So basically, like Jake from State Farm in real life, but I'm an independent contractor, so I can work with any insurance company.
Got it. Okay. Go deeper on what that means.
So basically, I'm registered with a lot of different firms, and then the firms have contracts with the insurance company. So State Farm, Allstate, USAA, Farmers.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You're registered with firms, and the firms, what kind of firms are these?
These are just like these independent firms that have contracts with State Farm staffers, or the insurance companies can't supply their own staff to complete inspections.
Okay. State Farm, I'm a homeowner.
Okay.
My roof blows off.
Okay.
I call State Farm.
Correct.
State Farm calls the firm to go look at your house.
So basically, when they deem it a catastrophe, right, they'll say, we don't have enough staff to manage this. We're going to need a firm or a couple of firms to have field adjusters come in.
State Farm doesn't have enough staff to manage the claims.
The amount of claims that came in.
I see what you're saying. So State Farm has a team of adjusters.
Correct.
But once it gets overwhelming, where it's a national, what's a state of emergency.
Yeah, or it doesn't even have to be that. Well, they don't feel like bringing their staff to do it. They'll still outsource.
Got it.
Independent contractors.
So they reach out to the firms.
Correct.
And do the firms do the work, or the firms gather a bunch of independent contractors like you to go do that?
That's all
work?
they do. And then they get a cut.
Dang, bro, I want to start a firm. Dion, can we start a firm? How do you start the firm? These are the ones that's winning in this situation because they don't do nothing at all but answer the phone.
Yes.
That's lit. Okay. Yeah. How many firms are there? Are there a lot of firms?
There's a lot of firms. A lot of firms.
Got it. All right. So the firm calls you, the independent adjuster, and they say, what do you do? What do
so they'll say, hey, Nick, we got, like California, for example, wildfires. They'll say, hey, we got, the California wildfires. Do you want to go? And I'll just say yes and no. Do I want to take that deployment? And it's for an undisclosed amount of time, until they don't need you anymore. And then,
all right, so let me tell you my journey.
Okay, go ahead. Let me hear it.
So when did Katrina hit? What was that? No, it couldn't have been 12, couldn't have been 10. It had to be somewhere between 8, 9, 10, something around there, right? Here's how I know. So I was working at the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
So FEMA, I'm guessing FEMA is kind of like the firm, or when the hurricanes hit and all that kind of stuff. I get a call from a company. Well, I had to register for this company called PAR Inspections.
Okay.
PAR Inspections gets a contract from FEMA to go do the inspections out there, right? Which, very ghetto operation, I thought. They said, yo, we've got these disasters. If you sign up, you got legs, you can take care of yourself.
Come on with it.
Come on with it. Just come on out. So what they did was they paid, I want to say it was $59.50. I want to say it was $59.50. They will pay me $59.50 to they'll pay me $59.50 to go inspect this house. So people are putting in their claims to FEMA. I get $59.50 per person. And one, I was wondering, dang, how much PAR inspections make? But that's beside the point. The point is, when I get there, they're like, yo, you have to meet us at this location. And you're going to do this training for like 4 hours. I promise you, joint was 4 hours.
4 hours. That was it. That's all your training?
4 hours. They give us an iPad. Yo, anybody's ever done this, please.
I know it's real.
It's crazy to me.
I know it's real.
They're like, okay, here's how you do it. And I'm so confused, bro. I don't know nothing about construction. But they're like, all right, well, you want to look for a high water line. That means the water's up there. And in the iPad shows you, okay, roof damage, all this kind of stuff. So you actually have very inexperienced, know-nothing people assessing your damages. And when you get no money, it was probably because this dude that was trained for 4 hours that was asleep most of it, like me, came in there, marked some stuff off, and they was like, oh, all right, well, that's it.
So you're going to get paid regardless?
I'm going to get paid regardless. However, it was cool because, not cool because they give you $59.50, but you have to have your own transportation. They're not housing you or nothing. You got to get there, take care of yourself. It was kind of fun. But we were doing like 10, 15 a day, and that was bread back then. You hear me?
Yeah, I know.
So is that similar? Is that a similar situation?
Somewhat. So FEMA, people need to understand FEMA is like water. That's flood. So that's when your insurance is not going to cover that. So that's surface water. That's like if water comes underneath the door, your patio door, that's not, most insurance companies don't cover that. That's a FEMA. That's FEMA claim. So that's why you were dealing with like flood marks, things like that. And then they were having you probably document like roof damage because they would then tell them they need to follow up with their insurance company.
Keep going, because I'm wondering now, and I just can't shake it. It's not even that important, but if the F in FEMA stands for flood.
So then at that point, they were just having you document the damage. And sometimes FEMA requires you to have like a denial letter from the insurance company. So then they will come in and assess the situation when it comes to flood. Gotcha.
Okay, so it wasn't just flood though. So sometimes there'll be natural disasters,
but it's just overwhelming, and then the insurance company still needs some help, because you got to understand, when a natural disaster happens like that, yes, you have insurance, but we're just overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? So we need all hands on deck, FEMA, insurance, everybody. So at least reach out so some people can feel like they're being helped. So that's kind of where they come in as well too.
Let me tell you about word on the street. They was really saying, bruh, we got to go to their house and we got to identify if they have insurance. If we have insurance, we get their insurance information. They got to get us their card and stuff. What they was telling us, and I don't want to say it's coming from the company, but what they were saying was, really, if that person got insurance, FEMA's not going to help you.
Right, exactly. Because you were with a third party. You weren't directly with FEMA, right?
I was with the third party, yes. So FEMA hired this company called PAR Inspections. PAR Inspections hired me.
So that's another little loophole people don't understand too. Just in case you did something like reckless or crazy, FEMA was kind of hands off because they got that buffer.
100%. Dang,
Exactly.
But the moral of the story is, I remember working at the Cheesecake Factory, and I was telling them, it's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go help out with the flood. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, yo, you about to go help? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh man, that's incredible, man. You are really helping your country. I said, yeah. I went out there, got that bag, and came back. And
crazy cheese.
Kept my job. Okay. But so that was the first taste of like understanding kind of what you do, because in those conversations they're saying, yo, we can do this all year round. You go get your insurance adjuster's license. That was kind of the next step up. But so walk me through this process, how even an average person can do what you're doing.
So average person, you just it's a 40-hour course. You get your 40-hour course, and then you start acquiring licenses, and then you can start making money immediately.
Okay.
It's always bad weather. So it's recession proof, and the money is insane. So normally I'll tell people most of the time you're gonna make 6 figures in 6 months, and you not even gonna know what you're doing.
and you're not gonna know what you're doing.
Well, when I first got started, I've been doing this almost 10 years. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody like that. So it was just like, I didn't have a construction background either. So I didn't know what I was doing. But even my first year, like 6 months, I made like 108.
In the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of skill set? First off, can you have gone to jail and do this?
Depending on what you went to jail for. You
like
can't.
A felony, you can't?
Depending on, it can't be, because you still are dealing with like can't say the word.
I know what words you're trying.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Proprietary
information. Yeah. There we go. Right. So you're dealing with that, and then you're going inside of people's homes. So you can't be like, child molest or something like that, or robbery, but like a small drug charge or something. I know a couple of people.
Okay, I got you. Okay, but this is a good path if somebody is tired of driving Uber.
This is way past. Like this is life changing. Like this is life changing. Like this has changed my life. It's changed so many people's lives that I've, told about the industry. It is insane.
All right, so walk me through this. You can go to this 40-hour class, and you said you get a bunch of licenses. Do it online. What do you mean? What do you mean by a license?
So you have to get licensed in the states that you're going to work in. So, California, you need a California license. Florida, you need a Florida license. Some states don't require a license, depending on like where you got your home state license. So I always tell, my people to get their home state license in the state that kind of covers majority of the states. So that's a little loophole right there.
So if I live in Georgia, I'll go to the 40-hour course, then get my Georgia license. I'm gonna give you some free sauce. You would want to go to like Texas. So my home, even though I live in Illinois, my home license is Texas because it covers more states. So it doesn't matter where your actual home is. Your home license is just where you're basing out of.
Where you're basing the license out of.
Got it. Okay. So why not your home state where you just be at the crib?
Well, because Illinois doesn't really require a license to do adjusting. So my home license, I wanted my home license to cover like Illinois doesn't have. You don't need the license. So
hold on, you don't need the license to do Illinois.
Not a separate license, not like Florida or New York. You need a New York license to do adjusting in New York.
But what I'm saying is, if you live in Illinois, you're saying you just have to go get the certification from the 40-hour course, and then you can start getting busy.
In Illinois. Because I have a Texas license that covers those states that you really don't need a license. But if you had like like a Georgia license, then you might have to take some extra steps or may do some additional testing.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Because a Texas license, their testing is going to cover all of that.
Okay, and what are the things being covered in this exam?
So that's the crazy thing about the industry, kind of like what you were telling. It's basically you're just learning insurance. You're not going to learn the job. So that's why you don't see any advertisement for field adjusting. Nobody's really talking about it. You're going to learn the insurance, you're going to get the license, then you're going to learn the job. You on the job. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's crazy, because no one's really teaching you until you're like, wait, you want me to do what? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like you're just learning about insurance and getting the license.
Like what kind of stuff am I learning about insurance?
I mean, you're going to learn like, like the sexual harassment part of it, that aspect of it. Coverage A, like this covers the property, because I do property. But you could do auto as well. You know what I'm saying? But I do property. That's where the money is. So you're going to learn like, okay, what coverage A is. That's like your property. Coverage B would be like, personal property. Coverage C would be like additional living expenses, what we call ALE. So
got it.
You see what I'm saying? So
I got a better way to frame the question that I'm looking for.
Okay.
When you go in someone's house, obviously you sit them at the table, you take all their information, insurance information and stuff, right? Like you got to sit down and do all that?
No, I don't do none of that.
Okay. All right.
Because all that's done. Because you already have insurance. When I come, I'm going to come to your house, like say, for example, State Farm. Because I always use State Farm because it's one of the hardest companies to work for, because they're just one of the biggest. So if you can work with State Farm, you can work with anybody. So when I come there, you're going to think that I work for State Farm.
I got you.
You're not going to know any different. I might have a badge that says State Farm. I'm going to have khakis, red shirt on, polo. You're not going to know. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm just your adjuster. Yeah. And then State Farm actually gives you access to their system. So I'm going to be able to see. So I'm going to know what you filed the claim for and everything. I'm going to already know all that.
I see. Okay. Are you so when you walk in the house, You say hello. What do you what do you do? What are you doing? Walk me through.
You want to spill? I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So how you doing? I'm Nick Ward with State Farm. I'm going to give you your field inspection. You said you had some roof damage. So I'm going to walk around the home, make sure that it's okay. I'm going to start at the front, go to the right, and the back, and the left. And then if you have some interior damage, I'll take a look at that then. Do you have any questions or concerns for me right now before I start?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
So then you start walking around the house.
That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk around the house. I'm looking for like wind damage, hail damage, depending on what the peril is. I'm just looking to see if it's damage. I'm just documenting it, taking pictures. And then might go on the roof, take a look at the roof. And then I'm going to go inside and see what they're gonna show me.
So you would actually get on the roof?
Yeah, I would actually get on the roof.
Okay. So when I was doing it, we couldn't do that.
No, but that's the difference in the pay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why the pay's crazy.
So, not even being funny, to be a heavy set brother or sister.
I've seen it.
Word.
If I tell you heavy set brothers,
I don't know, bro.
Heavy set brothers and sisters.
If I was up, bro, I'm not going on that.
Listen,
roof.
heavy set brothers and sisters. If I tell you can make $20,000 in a week, I think they'll push through.
I get in the gym.
I think they'll push through. You feel me?
100%.
I've seen somebody do it with one leg, thong sandals. I mean, I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all, brother. It's crazy. You be like, "What's up, man? Take it easy."
So you're not just looking at the thing that they said was wrong. You do a full walkthrough. I guess you're looking for watermarks and stuff like that.
Correct. I mean, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm providing the best service for the homeowner. Because a lot of times you got to understand, when somebody owns a building or a home, that's one of their biggest investments, you know what I'm saying, to them, in real life. Yeah. So I try to take care of the customer. I try to teach, make sure that I'm helping them to the best of my ability. But also, on the other hand, sometimes this is the first time the insurance company gets to see the property too. So I'm also documenting for them.
You're their eyes. There's a lot of things you can do with $500. I mean, you can have a night out with your significant other. You could buy some really expensive shoes. Well, really nice shoes are about double $500. You could buy a course where you can learn something for $500. But I have something better for you to do with the $500. I want to meet with you every single morning for the rest of your life. Well, maybe not the rest of your life, but every morning, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year. I have information and game that have allowed me to build a successful business, a successful community, and a successful life all the way around. But I want to share that with you. But the only way we can accomplish this is not me selling you a course, not me giving you a one-on-one consultation, because even with that, you'll get the information, but you'll need more. I want to meet with you every single morning. Now, would I meet with someone every morning for $500 for a year? And the answer is yes. Actually, we've been doing this thing since 2017. We have what's called the morning meetup. Every single month, we have a theme, whether it's social media, whether it's motivation, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, we have a theme for the month. And every morning in that month, we have a conversation around that topic. And I am giving a wealth of knowledge, not only myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people that you see on this podcast. They join every single week. So you need a community of people that you can grow with, and you need a coach. I'm your coach. The Morning Meetup is your community. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's $499, and I will meet you every single morning for an entire year. Give it a shot. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So here's the thing. If you don't know anything about construction, if you don't know, I mean, they're teaching you insurance, but if you don't really know nothing about construction, you don't even know what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the answer. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the firms will have a manager, but sometimes depending on what happened, the manager might have 20, 30 guys, or men and women under them. So they're overwhelmed too. So that's why it's great to have a mentor, or somebody that can help you, guide you through the process. And then you'll make so much more money. You won't leave that much money, money on the table, because you'll know what you're looking for.
How can you just get a mentor though? I mean,
you got one.
I'm saying, but I'm gonna get my license, I can't just call you and say, "Hey, bro, I got this house I gotta go to. Can you come with me?"
So once you get in the industry, you're gonna see, like if it's a real storm, we'll go to like a war room. This is where you're gonna pick up your equipment. We call it a go bag. It's gonna have a laptop, depending on the insurance company, because sometimes you have to provide all of your own stuff, like your laptop, software, stuff like that. But State Farm will provide what we call a go bag. It'll have a laptop, printer. Sometimes it'll have drafts like checks, so I could print your check right there.
Really? So you have the authority to give checks?
Yeah. I'm a one-stop shop.
But but if I'm new, I can do that too?
Yeah, but your authority won't be as high as probably mine. So like the amount of money that you could pay, once it goes over a certain dollar amount, somebody's gonna have to approve it.
So if something ever happens to my house and I see this junior come in here, I'm like, yo, bro, go get your manager because you can't. But
you really wouldn't know. You really wouldn't know unless you asked them. So like,
I think I would know though. Like, bro, how long you been doing this? Oh yeah, I just got this job. Go get your manager, bro.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. That's one of the first things. Don't go in someone's house like, yeah, I just started yesterday. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? It's 80% just being confident. You know what I'm saying? Just being confident and say, you know, I really don't know the answer to that, but I'll find out for you.
How do you learn it though? How do you learn what you're looking at, especially if you don't have a background in construction?
When I first started, I'll give you a little breakdown. When I first started, my first deployment was West Virginia. I went to West Virginia. I didn't know nothing. I didn't have a construction background. And I've had let me back up a little bit. I had a lot of different careers. So I sold cell phones for corporate. I've been a college advisor. I did BP and mobile. I sold fuel for a minute. I mean, I did it. I got a CDL. I drove trucks. So during that time, I was driving trucks and I was getting money. I'm like, man, I'm straight. And so my sister's friend, it was like, you should look into field adjusting. Now, I wasn't over the road, so I was at home. I was like, field adjusting, what is that? You know, I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So I got licensed in 2015. And, you know, I didn't use it at first. And so, like I said, I ended up losing the contract that I had. And then I took my first deployment, which was West Virginia. And
what was the storm? What was the disaster?
It was a wind and hail storm.
Wind and hail.
And it was during the time that Donald Trump was being put into office. So it was crazy. And I'm in West Virginia.
Did you vote for Trump? Don't worry about it. I didn't answer that.
That's crazy work. But so I get deployed to West Virginia and I'm like, okay. And I drove there. So at this time, man, I had $1,000 to my name. I had an Audi A7, but that wasn't really what I needed to go there. Cause I'm like, he kind of prepped me, but he kind of didn't. He like, you just need like a ladder, you know, and a tape measure. And I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, all right, whatever. And so
I'm sorry, you got to bring your own ladder.
You're going to have your own equipment because you're an independent contractor. You're an independent contractor. So depending on the storm, you got to bring your own equipment. So I was like, I'll buy a ladder when I get there. Man, I had a Jeep Liberty. I had 268,000 miles on it. My tires was ball, cracking my front windshield. Windshield wipers trash. I'm like, I'm finna go get this bag though. I didn't have no choice. So I went, and the first week, like you said, I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what a gutter was, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know what like soffit, fascia, different type of shingles, architectural, laminate. I didn't know none of that. So I pull up to the house. It was a nice ass house. You know, the people were really nice and they were just talking to me and I was just like looking at the house like, this is a nice house. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I never been to West Virginia either. And my AC didn't work. It's hot. I'm sweating, you know? So I'm just like, and they were like, are you listening? I'm like, yeah.
You're enamored by the house.
I'm just looking at the house like, oh, they living it up. You know what I'm saying? So they like, are you going to check it out? But at this particular time, I told my manager, you know, like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing. So he was like, I'll go with you. So I was like, okay, I appreciate it. Now, they don't have to go with you. They normally don't go with you. So he went with me. We walk around the house. And then he was like, oh, okay, get on the roof. I was like, no, you get on the roof. Because I thought he was playing, you know. And he got on the roof. And I was like, this is the job? You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is nuts. You know what I'm saying? But I got on the roof and I did like maybe 2 claims that day. And then the next day I did another 2 claims. And I was just like, because the house is the same. They're all going to have gutters. They're all going to have fascia. They're going to have either this type of shingle or this type of shingle. Like you just start learning. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's going to have drywall or plaster. So you're just kind of learning. And my first week, I think I made like $2,500. And I was like, man, I could just drive trucks for this. And then I think the next week I made like $3,800. But then that third week, because you get paid every week, depending on what some firms. That third week, I had kind of went a little crazy, and a lot of the houses had like real damage, and they were just bigger homes. I made $16,000 in 1 week.
Hold on. Is the amount of money you make based on the complexity of the damage?
So we get paid two different ways. We get paid in what we call day rate, which is a flat rate per day, and then we also get paid or in component. So day rate is a lot of storms. They'll tell you, hey, it's 6/12, so it'll be 6 days a week, 12-hour days, or yeah, or it'll be 7 days a week, 12-hour days. You see what I'm saying? So, right. So during the storm, normally it's going to be like 7/12s. But this particular deployment was component. So this is, you get paid by what you do. So the scale has changed, since then. That was a long time ago. But if the house was 2 stories, I would get paid for that. If it was steep, I would get paid for that. If it had like an outbuilding, like a detached garage or a shed, if I got on it, I would get paid for that. If that was steep, I would get paid for that. If they had personal property that got damaged that went over $250, I would get paid for that. If they had interior damage and I went inside of the home, I would get paid for that. If the claim went over $20,000 at that time, I would get a percentage of the claim.
Oh, wow.
Crazy work.
I actually kind of like that.
So it was kind of like
incentivizing the adjuster to actually do their job and find the issues and get that person the maximum money. I like that.
And people always think the insurance company don't want to pay, but that's really not the case. You just don't have legitimate storm damage. You have like wear and tear or something like that.
You know what's unfortunate about this whole process? That you literally have to wait for people's lives to be ruined to get a job. I remember, bro, as I was working for FEMA, I remember seeing stuff brew, because I did a bunch of different deployments, and I'm seeing stuff brew, and I'm like, oh, I hope it tears through that little city, because they go call me. I'm like, golly. And I start feeling bad about myself. However, I knew after a while, and again, I didn't know anything at all, but eventually I start understanding. You feel me? Like if you have a water line that's, I don't know, and I forgot the numbers, but
like a 2-foot flood cut?
Yeah, if it's like 6 inches, I know I have to replace like 2 feet of sheetrock. And then the sheetrock also tells me how many outlets I got to replace and stuff like that. And you start to get it. So I was super nervous. So for those that's nervous and you're thinking about this, like, I want to do adjusting, but I don't know a thing about construction. Look at these hands. These joints ain't do a hard day. I serve tables for a living. You know what I'm saying? you see what I'm saying? Absolutely.
I'm not blistered all up. I'm not looking crazy out here. So
yeah, it's just learning it. It's
just like learning anything else, but this can really like change your life, because it's also giving you a skill set that you could use outside of the industry too.
For sure.
Like if you want to start buying properties, or when I bought my home, I did an inspection on my own home. I found I found 3 holes in the roof in my own home. You know? So it's a skill set. Like if you call me like, hey, Nick, I'm thinking about buying this property. Can you come take a look at it for me? Yeah, sure. I'm already ready. I'm already prepared.
I like
so
that.
Now that's a side hustle that you could do. I also have another friend of mine. He has a real job and he does it as a side hustle, because you make your own schedule.
Yeah.
So he only does inspections on the weekend.
That's dope. The 6-month thing, where are you getting the 6-month window from?
So normally most people make what they're looking to make within 6 months. And then there's always storm season. So storm season is going to be where majority of the money is made. You can work year round, but you will probably chase the storms at that point.
Got it.
But it doesn't
find out what's going on around the country.
Right. It's always bad weather. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a disaster. It could be, it's cold in Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
So frozen pipes are going to be.
But what type of emergency has to happen for you to get the call? Because it seems like, all right, State Farm, they have their crew, right? And their crew can handle maybe the busted pipes in Atlanta or not.
Nah, so you got to understand like this. When you work for a company like that, they get vacation. They got sick pay, like time, and they pension, maybe they stress relief. So they stretched thin, or they don't want to make them do anything dangerous, because if they get hurt on the job, now they got to pay them workers' comp. I can make you do anything. You're going to go do it. But that's why we get paid way more than them. But we're doing essentially the same thing.
Give me an example of what you get paid per house, if you're able to calculate that.
For example, I always use State Farm. So per house, I'll get $525. $525, and then I'll get 65% of that, and then the firm will get 35%. I think it's $341, but you could check my math.
I'll trust you. $324?
$341.
$341. So let's just say it's like, let's just round the nice even numbers, $350.
Right, but if the house is steep, and I like show that I use like steep equipment like rope and harness, or there's other
rope and harness. Yeah,
like if you want to like tie off, like if it's a dangerous house, then I'll get $675, and then I'll get 65% of that, and then they'll get 35%.
You've had to use a rope and harness?
Yeah, but I mean,
give me an example, because I can't even see a situation.
So like a house with a roof like that, you could just walk up it, but it's dangerous. So what I'll do is I call it's a goat. It's like a pole with a hook at the end. I'll roll it up to the ridge, hook it to there, and then it's a rope, and then I could just walk up it. Oh. It's just a little safer than what we call free climbing.
I see what you're saying.
And if I do that, because it's going to take more time, they're going to pay me $675.
Okay.
So why not?
But what if you, there's a bunch of reasons why not, because I don't know if I want to tie off and trust that little rope.
But no, you're really holding on to the pole. The rope, I'm going to just take a picture of the rope for the fee.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But as long as they see me using some type of steep equipment, they're going to pay you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the type of person that maybe wouldn't want to do this is somebody that doesn't want to get on a roof.
Not necessarily, because you could also be a desk adjuster, which is somebody who doesn't go into the field. So like when you call your insurance company, that initial person that's handling the claim, they could just be the desk adjuster, and then they'll call for a field adjuster to come out and do the inspection, send them the photos.
Hold on, is that a job is that a job that you get a job with State Farm, or that's you could still the same process of getting your license and stuff like that?
Same process.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. But I guess you just probably don't
get as paid as much. So they're on probably an hourly rate. Mm-hmm. They probably start at like $36, $38 an hour, which is still not bad.
But you can go get your license, tell Allstate or whatever, say, yo, I got my license, put me on as your independent contractor, and they'll call you for these seasons.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't even have a license in that state, sometimes depending on how bad it is, they'll issue you an emergency license.
Yo, what crazy. About the fires in Florida, in Cali?
Yeah, like for something like that, if they didn't have enough adjusters, they would issue emergency licenses.
Did you go?
No, I didn't go. Because at this point in my career, I work from home. And
how you work from home?
That's another part in the industry. So I put in my time, and now I just really want to work from home and make that kind of money at home and not travel on the road.
Oh, so you're the person you were just telling me about the calls.
No. I do inspections in Illinois, in Chicago. I just don't travel to a storm, because someone with like my type of experience, they would put me in like. You say I work
at home. I'll work a disaster that's in
Illinois.
Chicago.
Right, because we have all type of perils. So we're going to have frozen pipes. Like when I left Chicago, it was -17. Feels like -17. So we're going to have frozen pipes. We got bad winds. We got hail. You know, we get it all. So that's how I can work all year round.
Why you ain't hungry no more, bro?
Oh, I'm hungry.
You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't trying to hit them streets, bro? You married?
No, I'm not married.
You not married?
No.
You got kids?
No kids. So I've done it. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I'm saying, what you be doing, bro?
I honestly want to help people get into the industry and show them the way.
I see what
you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'd rather send, my clients there, and it's like, you get that money. Let me show you how to do that. And so also too, the firms,
I like that.
The firms, I'm gonna know about the storms first, because I've been in the industry so long. So it's like, hey Nick, you want to go? Like, no, I got somebody that would go though.
I'm rocking with that,
and
bro.
put them into them.
I'm rocking with that.
Because it's like I could change their life. I've been getting money.
And you've been doing it for how long?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. So there are, and I don't know who they are, because I don't know none of them, and they're not none of my friends, that actually do something for a couple of years and then say, yo, you know what? I'm going to start teaching it. But you've been in this space for 10 years. You understand it. And this is what I like about us. This is a good, safe transition into the education space, because you've been doing it for a decade now. Mm-hmm. And now you understand, and you get the call So let's say, for instance, I'm like one of your mentees and I say, yo, I want to get my adjuster's license. I'm not doing that in my life. I'm like the DeVry commercial. You're not doing that. She's like, go to college.
Sit on
like,
the couch.
Yeah, bro, I'm sick of driving Uber. I want to go get this money. I want to be able to make 6 figures in 6 months. I like this, right? So if you're teaching me the things that will, I guess, kind of curb some of the anxiety when I get to the house because I don't know what I'm doing.
Correct.
You get the call, say, hey, do you want to go? What you're saying is you can put it out to your community and the company that calls you will take your recommendations?
They're going to take my recommendation because they know I'm not going to refer anybody that's not prepared. And think about it. When you were out there in that FEMA, they gave you an iPad, 4 hours of training, right?
Yeah.
Nick's been doing this forever. We know he's prepared. And even if they have a problem, they're going to call Nick.
Right.
So now we got us.
That's real.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like we're gonna take this person.
And you actually have, because otherwise I have to sign up, get my license, and then I'm just going to that company to say, hey, I'm available. And I don't know anything at all. But at least I'm coming through your training.
Right. First of all, how do you even gonna know where to find the firms? You know what I'm saying? You could probably try to Google it and then, figure it out. But when normally when you Google it, field adjuster comes up, that's like a staff adjuster. That's why people are deterred. That's why it's kind of so hard to find. It's like, you want me to have 5 years or, claims experience? Like, nah. You want to go on the independent side.
Got it. So, but you still do work, you just don't travel.
Right. And so that's another thing too. I'm still doing it. I'm not going to just teach you and then it's like, I've been out of the game, because that's what happens with management. It's like, they haven't done inspections in so long, but you're managing. It's like, you did this in 5-6 years. Yeah. The game is changing. So it's like, not only am I teaching, but I'm doing it too. So I'm not going to have you do anything that I wouldn't do, or I know what's really going on out here.
Why you single, bro?
I'm just not married.
I know, but like, you 40, you still got your hairline and everything, bro.
I'm hanging
what's
in there.
up? What's going on?
So honestly, I come from, we come from that generation where,
I'm married. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I'm married. I ain't.
No.
Actually, my wife is the first woman I ever dated.
Well, shouts out to that.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Never dated not one human before that.
But like, so I was really trying to just do it the right way, So I went to college, I got degrees and, had jobs and I'm like, I didn't want to have a kid without being married. So that's why I don't have any kids. And, I realized the American way ain't really the way. It was just like, get a good job, retire from the job. I have older parents. And I'm just like, that ain't it, And it was just like, I seen life just going by. So I was just like, let me just take a step back. Let me figure this out. And I just never had any kids and never got married because it's like, I didn't find that person yet.
Are you looking?
Yeah, I'm open.
Are you dating? You're dating now, though.
Yeah.
You got a little,
Yeah, I'm chilling.
But
no, I'm dating. I'm dating. I'm
okay,
happy. I'm happy too.
So how has dating been as an adjuster? I mean, it seemed kind of lit too, because you have to leave for work for.
So it is lit, and that's why I want people. So you got to also understand, you're traveling, you going places. So it doesn't matter where I might meet somebody. It's like, oh yeah, I know a little honeycomb hideout out there. It's like, dang,
you got the honeycomb hideout.
So it's like,
sheesh.
That's crazy, because you're like, I've been there before, or I've been here, or so that you get that aspect of it. But then it's also hard because it's hard for somebody to understand really what you do, because they've never heard of it. So. I was in a relationship for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
I was in a relationship for 13 years.
Really?
Yeah. With a marital and sex psychologist at that. Crazy work.
Hold on. She was a marital and sex psychologist.
Yeah.
And she let you string her along for 13 years? I'm just playing.
So you can have some smoke. But no.
I'm saying, like, why would you date somebody
we
for
were
13
young.
years?
We were in college. We met then, and it was just a long time.
No, bro, you wasn't in college for 13 years.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's where we initially met. So we
freshman year?
Like sophomore, yeah.
So 2 years y'all dated. The other 11 was after that.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, so she went to, she had to go get her practicum. So I was in New York. So then we technically moved to New York, but I never moved. I still stayed in Illinois and worked. So she went to New York. So I had an apartment there, but I only went there 3 times. That's it was crazy. But it was too hard. I'm like, a relationship shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah.
And it was you know, so that after I got out of that, that's when I kind of like chilled. And then at the end of our relationship is when I kind of got into adjusting towards.
She was holding you back from greatness.
I'm not gonna say that, but you know,
bro, isn't that crazy? You could really be with somebody that you probably knew for a long time. This ain't who I'm gonna be with.
I just wanted it. I wanted it bad. You know what I'm saying? We wanted it, and people stay in things for time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like she had this concept like, I want to be a doctor, you should be a lawyer. I'm like, I don't even like school like that. You crazy? Like, and at the time I was driving trucks. I'm like, I make more money than you. You know what I'm saying? But people don't understand it. Not only that, you gonna have debt.
Yeah.
You know, but
for sure. You'd be dope on Pop the Balloon. You should go on that joint.
See,
can you imagine walking up? I'm a field adjuster. We do. You know what I mean?
I mean, that it's hard. Like, your initial question was, how is dating in field adjusting? So let me transition back to that. It's tough because nobody understands. And then it's like, you're working during storm season. I'm working. I might work, 12 hours. I might work 16 hours. Then I might work 4 hours. Yeah. So it's like trying to get somebody to understand that. And it's like, I might be off for 5 months or 6 months, but right now I'm locked in.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So the best, like, what I do is when I'm dating somebody, you need to ride with me. You need to see exactly what I'm doing because then they'll understand, like, I don't need no stress. I might be outside risking my life, or I don't need all that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So not only like in the beginning, I'm calling, setting up the inspection, then I'm going to do the inspection, then I'm going to write the estimate. So it's a process. I'm streamlining the process. So they need to see all that to really understand. Because the money is crazy, but you still gonna work for some money.
Nah, I feel that. You know what I'm saying? Who's the type of person that shouldn't get into field adjusting? Like, it's not gonna be for everybody, but
in the work, like, if you're gonna be in the field, somebody who, you're not capable of, walking. You can't walk, or but there's a realm for you. You see what I'm saying? You can still do desk adjusting.
No, but I'm saying, like, like different people should do different things. Like, I would say, I think everybody needs to have a podcast, right? They should start a podcast. But if someone asked me that question, who shouldn't start a podcast? I would say somebody who's not committed to learning and growing. In terms of like learning and growing, the area of conversation that you are having, I think you should become more proficient. So if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to be consistent, if you're not willing to learn how to get comfortable in front of a camera, or you don't like your own voice, you feel me? Stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just saying, who wouldn't fit? I
would say somebody that's not willing to learn and be able to accept change, because things are always changing. And being able to, be yourself. Just be yourself, But at the same time, I've met people in the industry, like, the money's so crazy, I don't care. I'm gonna just hit it real quick and get out.
Yeah, for sure.
You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to be passionate about it, to make the money. So, but you have to be willing to learn, know. But if you want to be the best at it, and that's what I try to strive to be, you need organizational skills. You need to be willing to learn and accept change. Gotcha. And it's one of those jobs where I struggled in the beginning was, I'm one of those type of people who work and I want to be done. The work is never going to end.
Good.
You see what I'm saying?
So I like that. Let's put the expectation up front, because if somebody can go through this conversation, they say, yo, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for a change. I like being out there. Like, I want to see more different things. I'm sure this joint takes you all across the country, right? I want to travel and I want to see different stuff. That's what I liked about when I was out working with FEMA. But before we end, give me the craziest story that you encountered.
Man, the craziest story is so many, man. It's so, because I'll go inside of homes. I'm gonna give you two.
All right.
I'm gonna give you two. So one was, I was in Chicago and I was in this lady's basement, and basically I was telling her that it wasn't covered.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay, I'm not letting you leave. Yeah.
What?
For real. And I was like, I said the same thing. Okay. And she put her arm up and she blocked the door. Like, so I couldn't go up the stairs in the basement. And, I'm not going to touch a policyholder. I'm not going to touch a woman. I'm like, you for real? She was like, no, I'm not letting you leave until you tell me you're going to pay for this. And I was, and I had to talk her down for like 45 minutes. I was like, ma'am, at the end of the day, whether you keep me in this basement or not, I still can't pay for it right here. So like, that was wild. And then just seeing her break down like that, that was tough. And then, so now I've learned from that, don't do any recaps inside of a home. So now I'll say, hey, let me put my equipment back in the car and then I'm going to recap with you. So now I'm at the front door, I'm already outside. So I had to learn that. I got out of that. You learned. Yeah.
Because you was in the basement talking about, man, I can't even get no bread.
She was not going. She wasn't going. Like, she was serious. And I mean, at the end we hugged and everything. I was like, that was nuts. And I was late for my other inspections. So that was one crazy story. And then another one was, this lady was, telling me she had interior damage in her bedroom. Mm-hmm. I go in the bedroom, bro. She's got dildos hanging from the ceiling fan. It's crazy work. It's crazy work.
Hanging from the ceiling fan?
From the ceiling fan. So the light's off though. Ceiling fan ain't on. Oh man, what's up? I'm like, where's the water damage? She like, go in a little bit more. Turn some lights on. You know what I'm saying? Because when I opened the door, I was like, you try to stay professional. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm just trying to act like I don't see it. Yeah. As I go into the room, behind the door is like whips and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yikes.
Crazy work. So I was just like, okay. And I'm like, where's the water damage? She's like, you don't see it? So I'm just like looking around at the ceiling. She was like, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's not this room. I was like, I'm finna just go. So that was crazy. And she also had a voodoo room, like where she was doing like sacrifices and
what?
Yeah, it was crazy.
I bet you see all kind of stuff.
You see all type of stuff, man. I've seen locks on children's doors.
Here? Huh?
Yeah, like bolts, like if they're locking the kid in the room. I don't know if they're locking the kid in the room or if the kid is locking the door, but it's like somebody locked.
Oh, from the outside where whoever's inside
is in. Yeah.
Whoa.
It ain't my business. It ain't my business, man.
Dang,
I've seen it all. I've seen. This dude just gave me a bad vibe. He had this shed. Mm-hmm. Now a shed normally doesn't like have a turbine. A turbine is like a vent that you would have like on a factory. Mm-hmm. This shed had 2 turbines on it. It was immaculate. It was nice. It had a ramp like you would like roll a gurney in there. And it had bolts, and he was just like
pigmentation.
Just Caucasian, but he was just like, don't go by the shed. And I was just like, I thought he might have been growing weed or something. You know what I'm saying? And I just had I was just like, this is nuts. You know what I'm saying? I go in trap houses. Sometimes you see all type of stuff. It's just you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I've seen it all, man.
I would have met
hoarders. Hoarders houses.
Hoarder?
Like hoarders.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't have a chance to clean up. Like, you could have cleaned up for 2 years. You still weren't going to get this together. You knew I was coming.
Bro, the story about a lady, I thought she was about to try to bribe you.
Oh, yeah, you get bribes all the time. You try to get bribes all the time.
I thought she was going to try to bribe you like, hey, just go and lay down right quick.
Yeah, they be wild. I had an older lady put her hands around my neck and was like, you're so strong. And it'd be wild. It'd be wild. It'd be wild. It'd be wild.
The adventures.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm helping people, so it's cool.
I feel that.
And I'm getting paid.
Man, that's lit, man. I appreciate it. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, because the reason I wanted to have this conversation, because I like, my audience is, not my whole audience, but I focus on a group of people who maybe they have a job and a dream, and they want to bridge that gap. They want to figure out some way I can start supplementing my income so that I can make some money so that I don't always have to work. Because if you make enough money, you can start investing it, and the investment can kind of take over your lifestyle, right? But I thought this was a really cool conversation because this is something anybody can do. Anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it may, some people are just into that. Like, I like being outside. I like meeting new people. I like not knowing what's next is cool. Like, so I would think somebody who just loves having a desk job or whatever, they can still get into it because like you're saying, they could be at their house and just be the adjusters to make the calls. You know what? I just thought about something. My wife, every year, she takes this job for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. It's for open enrollment. Because she comes from the insurance space. And it's always at the end of the year. And she gets the job so that she can buy me a birthday gift with her money.
Oh, that's dope.
Gotta fly,
That's
right?
dope.
Because I mean, I'm the breadwinner. So she just be right in her room with a little headset. They'll send her a computer. They send her a headset, send her all that stuff. And she just there making calls. Now she hates it. She doesn't like doing it because the kids be running around.
She multitasking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she hates it, but she does it. Right? That's just her thing. Like, yo, I'm gonna make me some money, so I don't got to use your card. She still winds up using my card, but it's neither here nor there. But I'm thinking is if that's kind of like similar where there's a company that needs a customer service person. They just need to be trained on the lingo of insurance and. You know, for this season, while this disaster is going on, you take these orders. It's kind of dope.
Yeah, like sometimes when
she need to do that, bruh, instead of because they be paid. They don't pay a lot.
Sometimes you could do it from home, and sometimes they'll like maybe California they'll have like a call center that they'll convert.
Oh, you go out to the field.
Sometimes
that's kind of dope.
Sometimes,
you gotta travel out there.
And then,
will they pay for your room and board or anything like? Or it's
if you're on the independent side, no. But again, if you went with an insurance company, like if you were staff, then it's all comp.
Bro, there's
DM all that.
Seems like there's always a way to make some money out here, man.
Insurance is crazy.
Like if nobody, I'm just saying, if someone is like on their couch and they're just saying, yo, I can't find a job, bro, there's always a way you can make some money doing something. And if you ain't trying to get some money out here, you just don't want to do it. You're just lazy.
Yeah.
You're a lazy human being, and that's that. But I think this is a good opportunity for anybody, even if they're in a career where maybe they're not making that much money. Maybe they're making six figures, but I'd like to make it in half the time. That's kind of dope. I like that, man. All right, let everybody know how they can contact you, man, and how they can get in touch with you, even in your mentorship.
So in all social, all social platforms, Instagram, TikTok, is Hollywood, HOLLYWOOD_N Ward, WARD.
Hold on,
N Ward.
Spell out. You got to spell
N WARD. So Hollywood _N Ward.
NWARD.
Yeah, HOL.
Heck is that, man?
So my nickname is Hollywood. Everybody calls me Hollywood. And then my name is Nick, so N, and then Ward. My last name is Ward.
I never knew your last name, so.
Well, there you go.
Hollywood _.
So Hollywood.
It makes sense.
_.
I thought you just making stuff up, just throwing it out there.
Nah. And then my name is Nicholas Ward.
Okay, so, I got you.
And then on Facebook is Nicholas Ward. But
for sure.
For giving me the opportunity too, I definitely want to do something special for you.
Okay.
For your viewers, they could text a number. I'm going to give you that number, and if they type in the word proof to that number, I'm going to do a free webinar where I'm going to give them all the sauce, and then answer any questions that they may have as well, and then we can go from there to get mentorship. I also have an ebook and a course as well.
Okay.
So let me give them that number real quick.
Drop that number. And for the single 40 somethings.
See, you want some smoke? Nah.
I'm just saying, like,
text the number.
This podcast can have multiple uses for you, brother.
I'm like I said, I'm dating and I'm happy right now, but
when you say you're dating, I don't know the terminology. When you say you're dating, that means you have someone.
So I do, but that's a whole nother conversation, because I'm a wild boy, you know what I'm saying? So that's why my name is Hollywood. But
what that mean, Nick?
What that mean? Meaning we'll vet you out.
Just give the number.
We'll vet you out.
Just give the number.
We'll be pleased to meet you. So if the number is 833-239-8836. I'm gonna give you it again. It's 833-239-8836, and all you have to do is type the word proof. POOF.
There we go, man. Holla at Nick. Hey, if you looking for a wild boy,
I'm not wild like that. I'm very calm, educated brother. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I mean,
Nick, this is fun, bro.
I had a good
lie,
time
man.
as well.
Absolutely. Hey, look, man, if y'all looking for another source of income, man, hit up Nick. Again, when I had the conversation, I was like, "Oh, this would be perfect for my audience of figuring out, how can I? Maybe I want a career change. Maybe I want to do this. Just sounds like something that I'd be into, man. So make sure you hit up Nick, and also do yourself a favor. Go get you some social proof, meaning go build something really, really big.
Definitely.
But when you do that, I need you to come back to your community and teach them how you did it. It's the only way our community grows. All right, we are out of here. Peace. First off, congratulations on watching this whole episode. If you like this episode you just watched, check out this one right here. I handcrafted this one for you because you like the one you just watched. Check it out.